I gotta dive into this because I need Ash to educate me on a little something here. Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So I would consider myself a normie. I know a little bit about to the level I know of Star Wars, right? Where I know a little bit about a little bit, but I'm not as versed, right, as some of my colleagues here. So if you don't mind, for the audience and myself, explain what the fuck is going on right now with Doctor. It take as much fucking time.
Okay.
Maybe we spend the next hour of the show going through this. So take as much time as you need to explain what the hell is going on with Doctor Who.
Okay. Well, let's get a couple of big pieces of information out. Doctor Who originated in the 60s in the UK, William Hartnell being the first Doctor, and it ran for 30-something seasons through to, I think, 1989, when it was eventually cancelled. Low viewership, and the new control of the BBC hated not just sci-fi, but hated Doctor Who, so we couldn't wait to get rid. 1996, I think it was, America had actually taken over the rights. One of the American networks had taken over the rights to Doctor Who, and you got yourself the Doctor Who movie, TV movie. It was essentially a pilot for an ongoing series that would have occurred. Didn't do great in America because they didn't quite get the Britishness of the Doctor, and they moved him over to America and stuff like that. And it was once again shelved until 2005, where a Welsh gentleman called Russell T Davies resurrected Doctor Who from the ashes and made it an absolute phenom. Brought it back with Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. You're probably aware that the Doctor goes through life cycles, dies, regenerates into a new person. So it's an event. It's always been an event to have them regenerate. It was announced only a couple of episodes in, 2 or 3 episodes into the coming back of Doctor Who, that Christopher Eccleston would be leaving at the end of the first season, and the Doctor would be regenerating into what would then be known as the 10th iteration of the Doctor. Turned out to be David Tennant, who was a really good up-and-coming actor. Just appeared on a TV show here called Casanova, and it was sort of like his massive breakout role. When Tennant took over as the Doctor, he just captivated the hearts of everyone, from sci-fi lovers to normies to guys to women. He was young, handsome, energetic, charismatic, everything that you could really want in one of your lead roles. And Doctor Who just went through an absolute resurgence. It blew up in America. It'd never been so popular in America. And after 4 years of being at the role, he abdicated, I guess you could say, and passes it on to a chap called Matt Smith. Again, another young actor. He was only 26 years of age, I think, when he was cast as the Doctor. And I think he was 27 when he actually appeared on the screen as the Doctor. And again, young, handsome, charismatic, energetic, things that people can get into. Storylines were fun for the most part. There's always crappy episodes here or there. It's always the case with any TV. And the companions were always fun, normally young, attractive. So there was just everything there: sci-fi, fun, adventure, romance, or at least the sort of hinting of it. Then when Matt Smith left to do Hollywood, I think Andrew Garfield was just like, dude, come over Hollywood, man, because they were really good friends. They needed to find another Doctor, so they passed it over to Peter Capaldi. Seasoned actor, Scottish actor, phenomenal actor. Most people in the UK would have known him as Malcolm Tucker for In the Thick of It, the most absolute foul-mouthed politician, or he was the whip, wasn't he? He was the chief whip. There's this just incredible comedy show called In the Thick of It. which just mocked the shit out of UK politics. Didn't matter what side you're on, you know. It was just one of those great shows that everyone was a target. And Malcolm Tucker was the hideous, horrible, but wonderful a guy that kept everybody in line. So he took over as the Doctor, and he, just like Tennant, was a massive Doctor Who fan since a child. So he really, as an actor, just knew what he was doing with the role, how he's going to portray the role. Phenomenal. The showrunner and Capaldi left, and the BBC started to look for a new showrunner, and they got a guy called Chris Chibnall. Chris Chibnall was on a TV show, I think it was Blue Peter, kids show, when he was a kid, and he was talking and whinging about Doctor Who then, and they gave him the showrunner role, and one of the conditions that he had was, I want the Doctor to be a woman. And because the BBC is now the progressive BBC, it's no longer the people's BBC, it's the far left ideological BBC, they were like, no problem. No problem. So they gave the role to Jodie Whittaker, who had appeared in one of Chris Chibnall's TV shows called Broadchurch, which was actually starring David Tennant as well, which was about, which was very dark, murder mystery type of thing, and he brings one of the most miserable characters from that show over as the Doctor. And before she's even filmed a scene, she immediately says that Doctor Who has always been catering to the male gaze,
of course,
and Doctor Who fans are just misogynists and fucking yawn.
Boring, yeah.
She knew nothing of the history of Doctor Who. She hadn't watched any of Doctor Who. She phoned up David Tennant because she knew him from Broadchurch, and basically did a very bad impression of him on screen. Hideous. It was awful. There was obviously big interest in seeing the first female Doctor, so the rating spiked, and then they fucking fell back to earth just as quick. And by the end of her tenure, which was only 3 seasons, she had some of the lowest ratings of Doctor Who's history. Never mind New Who. She was the lowest rated in the New Who era. But even going back to the original era, some of the lowest ratings that you'd ever seen there. Then people were pretty much done because the episodes were dull, boring, preachy, stick waving, white man bad, all this absolute dog shit. All the fun, enjoyment, interest, intrigue, romance, all of it, the whole shebang, gone, just gone. It was a miserable affair. So Doctor Who actually got cancelled, but Russell T Davies stepped in and he said, "I'll do it through my company, Bad Wolf Productions." And then when he took it over, Bad Wolf Productions, I think, was immediately bought out by Sony. And then Disney wanted to get in on the New Who because Russell T Davies was returning as showrunner. The guy who started it all off in 2005, beloved by the fans, who said I'd never ever going to return to Doctor Who. Nearly killed him, just the amount of work and all that kind of stuff. So there was a moment of hope that he was actually going to come back and save Doctor Who from this disaster that it was now in. One of the biggest things that Chibnall had done was completely rewrite the whole history of Doctor Who. Doctor Who was now no longer a Time Lord. They were a little black baby that fell through a portal and was found by a woman in STEM who killed them over and over and over again to learn the secrets of regeneration. But because a woman did it, apparently that's okay and good. Creating the Time Lords. And apparently there's been thousands of iterations of the Doctor before we've even got to William Hartnell, who was the very first Doctor in the 1960s. I want to kill myself.
I'm sorry I'm making you live through all this again. I know, my apologies.
It's like fucking PTSD, you know?
My apologies, man. I know
the bomb hit it.
This is rough for you, man. My apologies.
So we had a big question for Russell T Davies, and that was, who's the first Doctor? Because obviously, if he says it's William Hartnell, then we know the Timeless Children's gone. He's gonna write that away, and it could be written away. You could do, it's a TV show. You can write shit like that away. Oh, it was the Master. He was tricking the Doctor all along. Blah blah blah. I don't care how contrived it is. Fucking get rid. But Russell T Davies casts his Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, a gay Nigerian Scotsman. Okay, if he's any good, okay. Okay, you do you. And then, because that news came out quite obviously unofficially, somebody leaked it. They were kind of caught off guard at an award ceremony, red carpet. And the first thing that we see is Ncuti Gatwa stumbling all over himself, trying to call the Doctor they, while constantly calling it him he, because he's a man. So that was not a good sign. And then it cut to Russell T Davies, who was telling the reporter that the Conservative government in the UK needs to be ousted immediately and out of power. And I thought, wow, that's a good episode of Doctor Who. Then things went a little bit quiet. People were kind of nervous. Few shots. They announced the new companion. I think she's 19. Young, pretty girl. Pretty blonde. So we're like, okay, we've got a Doctor in the 30s, a companion that's going to be in her early 20s by the time it comes out. You know, Rose, the initial companion, was meant to be 18, I think, when the show first started. So, you know, the dynamic, okay. Again, so it's sort of like tentative, but okay. And then a few weeks ago, Russell T Davies did an interview about the Timeless Children. Somebody said, what about the Timeless Children? A lot of the fan base not happy with the Timeless Children. Are you going to retcon the Timeless Children? Are we going to get back to Hartnell being the first Doctor? He said, no. He said, I would never write away my beloved friend's story. It stands. The Doctor's a little black baby that fell through a portal and was murdered over and over again by a woman in STEM to unlock the secrets of regeneration. Okay, well, fuck yourself. I was done. I was out. That's it. That's my deal breaker.
That's it.
Hartnell's the first Doctor. I'm out. And then we have a charity event every year called Children in Need. It's like a telethon event on the BBC. People phone in, pledge money for Children in Need. Worthy cause. Not going to diss on Children in Need. There used to be a tradition of having a Doctor Who sketch on that was filmed specifically for it and would be canon, be canonical to the series that was ongoing. So with Jodie Whittaker regenerating back into David Tennant, returning as the Doctor, which is very rare, but the Doctor can wear the same face that he's had on before through a regeneration cycle. So it was, we were initially thinking Russell T Davies is doing everything he can to repair this, but there is a big villain, probably one of the main, if not the biggest villain of Doctor Who's history, called Davros. He's the leader of the Daleks. Everyone knows what a Dalek is. Exterminate. Got a plunger on its fucking arm, you know. And Davros is mutilated, part human, part, whatever race, Carrick or whatever it is. Human, part Dalek. And he sits in this life support machine because he's just a mess. And even the Daleks are humans that have been altered to such a disgusting state of DNA, that they're just blobs with tentacles, but they originate from human beings. And he's got 3 eyes. His 2 eyes here are like sort of like closed up through skin, and he has this Dalek eye now on his forehead, unnatural eye. And so this Children in Need episode was going to bring back Davros. Okay. Russell T Davies has used him before. He did a very good design for him. And in walks this guy. Walks. No life support. Perfectly normal human being. Looks like a Nazi. He's got the costume on. like the symbols there on the collar, you know, essentially an SS Gestapo looking officer, but no life support, no mutilations, just a regular guy. And so we're like, people were like, well, this must be set before the accidents, you know, before the testing, before all of this. And Rusty was no, this is Davros now. What? Why? Well, you see, Davros was a wheelchair user. And we don't want to associate people with disabilities as evil. So he's no longer disfigured or has a disability because there's a history of disabled people being portrayed as evil. So in the first special that we had this weekend, he put a woman. There was a woman in a wheelchair who actually had guns and rocket launchers, but she was good. So if you see a disabled person in the street, Eric, they're probably going to blow you up with a rocket launcher.
Yeah,
But don't worry.
apparently that's how this works now.
Yeah. So obviously people are just like, this is stupid and and patronizing. And my God, do you have absolutely no respect for the disabled then if you think of them as evil? Because when I go down the street and I see a person in a wheelchair, I don't think, wow, I wonder if they have created a race of genetically altered genocidal maniacs who are going to go around the galaxy wiping and ethnically cleansing everyone. I normally go, oh, it's a bummer. They can't, dunk. I always say, don't get up. Which they listen to, never, what? So the special happens, the first of three with David Tennant. The first special happens over the weekend, and one of the Doctor's old companions returns for the episode, and that companion now has a daughter with a penis.
Okay.
And every 2 minutes, the show has to say, she's beautiful. Because we can actually see them. So they have to tell us she's beautiful. And every few minutes, there was a reference to the fact that the daughter was not originally a daughter. And she had, and this companion had also got rid of her husband's name and taken her own name because fuck him. And the daughter, the daughter who's called Jason, who's dead named in the show. Are you fucking bored yet? I am. The daughter who's oh my God. They also decided not to take their father's name.
So the kids don't have the name either.
So the kid doesn't have the father's name either. That they've got the mum's name too. Because fuck that bitch. Fuck that cuck. So every 10 minutes or so, we get a reference to the fact that they're a very special person, and it's just sledgehammer after sledgehammer around the head with absolute full on Stunning and Brave and everything that made the Doctor and Doctor Who fun all gone. It's all now complete and utterly agenda driven garbage. And the Doctor was berated throughout the course of the whole episode by the women and the woman with a penis. And the big zing at the end was, we can give up our power because we're women, and you can't give up your power because, and I quote, you are a male presenting Time Lord. they mentioned, oh my God, there was a whole segment on them talking about pronouns.
I think I saw a clip of that.
Mm-hmm. I did. I killed myself. Unfortunately, because I've watched so much Doctor Who in my life, I actually regenerated.
I just regenerated,
back to life, which was really, I was not happy with that. And there was also a segment where they did a thing about binary, because it was when.
So they just checking all the boxes.
Well, the binary was actually in the show referring to ones and zeros, but now in the show it's referring to gender. So Donna was referring to herself as the binary because she was a mixture of human and Time Lord, and the daughter with a penis was saying, "I'm non-binary," which is actually biologically incorrect. But don't worry about that, because it's all made up anyways. I mean, sci-fi. It's sci-fi I'm talking about. Sci-fi, obviously. And everybody laughed at it because it was fucking pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And it did 5 million views. David Tennant specials tend to do 10 to 12 million. No problem. So it barely did more than Jodie Whittaker's run as the Doctor, about 1 million more. And there's still 2 more of these episodes, specials, 60th anniversary specials to go before Ncuti Gatwa, the little gay Nigerian Doctor incoming. Scottish as well, apparently. Until he takes over. And
so we haven't even got to the good stuff yet.
Oh, man. Well, no, there's good news. There is good news. The good news is when David Tennant goes and regenerates into Ncuti Gatwa in 2 episodes' time, we're no longer probably going to be lectured about pronouns and gender ambiguity. We can be lectured about how white people are horrible instead.
Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, keep the hate diverse.
Yeah, there you go.
Keep the hatred diverse. That's what I always say.
This is fucking remarkable. So yeah, considering that there hasn't been that replacement yet, has not become a doctor, well, I guess officially. Well, this could get better, and by better I mean worse.
Oh yeah. But I don't know if anyone's going to be bothered to watch it.
Fair enough.
Judging by what they just saw. Even the BBC gave it a shit review. And it's on their fucking station. But the website gave it a shit review, calling it preachy, and they quoted The Critical Drinker.
Nice.
Because they said it does nothing more than acts as a vessel for the message. The message.
So
how'd that work out for you, hey? You ready to dive into New Who?
Yeah, I'm actually stoked. Fucking Alpha Core #1's pre-order is live. Written by the legendary Chuck Dixon and penciled by Joe Bennett. Visit Rippaverse.com to grab a copy and any of the merchandise items. Be sure to also check out the animated trailer for the campaign, which is the latest project from Rippaverse Studios. Y'all be easy.